Good morning. This is Josh Hayes with Hedge Plus, and here is today's market monitor. Headline today is just look at what the sniff or the scent of trade deals can do for the markets. Late afternoon yesterday before the close, we had a very noticeable uptick in activity. Markets were pretty flat, if not drifting lower, and then something really sparked a turnaround. Now, a lot of people started pointing to soybean oil, which is at the highest level in the year, and that then turned to a lot of people speculating that perhaps there was an announcement on the horizon with the Trump administration, some kind of advancement with biodiesel policy. While at the same time, there were starting to emerge some details of potential trade deals coming out, and I think that is the biggest driver behind this. And it also does tie into why soybean oil was lifted. So we have the following countries apparently close to deals that could, at least the framework, be announced maybe even as soon as today. Countries including Japan, India, and South Korea. And I can give you an idea directly, at least with Japan and India, of what the impact would be there. With Japan, we're always, selling them corn. The thought would be that we'd be selling them even more, or they'd commit to buy it even more. But one of the biggest aspects of potential deal with Japan that leaked out yesterday is, in order to appease President Trump, Japan is talking about picking up their purchases of soybeans to try and help us offset the loss of sales to China. And that directly goes right to what we've been saying for a while now. Patrick talked about it a couple weeks ago. I've been in, I think, in one of our Q&As, and I've been saying it as well. The easiest thing for these countries to do to strike a trade deal, have the tariffs lowered on them by the United States without really hurting their own industries and also not upsetting China, is to buy our food. And sure enough, that's what word has come out that Japan is looking to do. Perhaps buy soybeans that, maybe that to a level they would not otherwise have bought, or buy them from us when they might have been able to find them cheaper elsewhere at some point. Either way, they're trying to please Trump without angering China. Now, if they made a deal with electronics or something that China, typically exports to them, and they start committing to buy it from the U.S., then they'd have a problem with one of their closest neighbors. So, easy solution: buy something China just doesn't export. In India, the word is starting to emerge that India is talking about importing more soybean oil from the United States. Not something they typically uh, do so much, and or at least not to the degree that is being spoken of. So I believe that word, that India is looking at buying more soybean oil from us, is what raised the soybean oil market. Not any advancement in biodiesel policy. Could be wrong. Perhaps both will happen. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But that's a big part of the reasons why corn and soybeans and even wheat in general had a nice little late bounce yesterday, which, by the way, has continued into today. Getting to the bearish side, it's good timing because export sales report was not the greatest yesterday. We're still ahead of pace for the year, but it does point to the importance of making these deals soon. We're starting to see some drop off. That's to be expected when world trade in general is slowing down, movement of goods is slowing down. All these tariffs are causing that. So it would be absolutely great timing to start getting some of these trade deals just as export sales are finally starting to weaken. And I think that's been the plan all along. And I think that's why there's the urgency now. So I think we're going to start to get those deals announced really, really soon. And it's great because we might not get any bounce from weather right now. Weather is, or at least weather is kind of working against you guys twofold. It's causing issues for some of you, but the markets sure don't seem to be accounting for it. The markets are reacting to any positive news. Once again, well, I think maybe for the third straight time, I'm hearing that as the rains forecasts for the central plains, the southern plains get nearer, that the forecast is weakening and the areas that need it most are starting to look like they'll miss it again. Markets just don't seem to react to that, especially the weak market. Heavily short speculators refuse to budge. They seem to ignore any bullish weather forecast, and every time something favorable happens or is forecast in wheat areas, they seem to double down some more. So wheat is really stuck in a hard place right now, with speculators really strongly short the market and not budging. Taking a look at that weather, it's nice to see we're not the country whose flag appears twice for once, but rains are expected to help the hard red winter wheat area. That remains to be seen to what degree. I know in Nebraska, in at least parts of Nebraska, western Nebraska, in central Nebraska, they are really hurting. They do have rain in the forecast. I think a little bit of rain fell yesterday, but it's nowhere near enough. And these forecasts talk about greater amounts than seem to fall. So that's still a area of concern and something we're watching very closely. Ukraine, same thing with Russia, that whole region. My goodness, every day I hear something completely different. You go from they need rain really bad to, oh, their crop's really not in that bad of shape, even though months and months of talking about how dry it was there, to then good rainfall, and then now back to limited rain, cooler temps. Last I heard was, again, forecast is really dry there, and it could potentially cause problems. Especially when it comes to wheat, and that's really the primary crop in that region, and where the greatest amount of wheat comes from. You almost have to see it destroying acres of crops before you start to take it seriously, especially with speculators so heavily leveraged against wheat. And like I said, not budging. China, north and south, two drastically different issues. Their corn areas, about nearly half of it will need rain here real soon. It's been extremely dry. They can't go by much longer without it severely impacting their corn crop. And at the same time, in the south of China, heavy rain. It's been heavy there already. They're having issues with too much rain, excess rain. To give you an idea of what's grown there, the primary crop grown in the southern areas of China is rice and a few other fruits and vegetables. But where they grow corn, not so great news for them there. It's kind of interesting, I guess, to see the two countries that are battling the most, greatest standoff in the trade wars, are both probably having the two biggest weather concerns in the world, and perhaps that will provide an impetus for both countries to get over their trade differences and get some agreement soon. Quick look at soybean basis. I don't think this is a surprise to any of you that live in these areas. I think you guys are familiar with the basis. The point of this is to try and spot patterns and note changes. Obviously, South Dakota, our guys there know just how tough basis is nearly year round. So you see the worst basis there in Mitchell, South Dakota, best basis in the central Illinois area, and the most recent change with a 5% improvement in basis in the Peoria area. So otherwise, for the most part, most of these places are unchanged. It's something that from taking a look at this regularly, we hope to be able to perhaps help with somebody who may miss an improvement that they've been waiting for. And finally, taking a look at the overnight prices up across the board. Good momentum beginning the day, carrying over from yesterday. These prices as a 503. Corn, beans, and wheat all about up 2 to 4 cents. To give you an idea of where we are compared to yesterday at this time, 24-hour difference. Corn up about 6, beans up about 8, and wheat up about 6. Hopefully, we hear nothing to deter the idea that these trade deals are getting closer. And wouldn't it be fantastic if we even got 1 or 2 announced today? That's all for today and all for this week. Later today, Jason will have our feedlot focus. And aside from that, I hope everyone has a great day and a great weekend. Thank you.